Hey everyone, welcome back to another lesson. In this one, we're going to continue talking about dictionaries, and we're going to expand on the dictionary concept by talking about nesting dictionaries and nesting lists. Now, this is a little bit of a more confusing concept, really not harder when you actually think about it. But it is one of those things in Python that can get a little bit like hard to understand and can get a little bit confusing. So what I want you to do is, first of all, I want you to make sure that you understand what we've talked about so far with the dictionaries. How do you reference them, key value pairs and all that stuff. So make sure you have a good grasp on them, because things can get really out of hand. And one of the things I recommend here is that I want you to try to go back to the lesson. If there's a part that you're not sure about, you're a bit confused, it's completely fine. Just make sure you just skip back a little bit and try to understand it. All right. And also, you can always contact me if you have any questions. As always, the code for this is in the resources section, so you can check it out for yourself. And let's talk about nesting dictionaries. So the idea with a nesting dictionary is that you can actually have multiple items in a dictionary, and you can even have multiple dictionaries inside a dictionary. You can even have lists inside a dictionary, because if you think about different type of data structures that we've talked about so far, for example, we talked about dictionaries, we've talked about lists, and we talked about like more normal values, like such as variables and stuff like that. These are data structure, and if you think about it, they're really not that different from each other. They're just a different way of working with data, and they are used for different cases. Now, in the case of dictionaries, they are pretty much like lists when it comes to the data structure. You just work with them like a list. Again, it's just for different situations, right? Now, with that being said, the idea with this is that you can actually put all of these together, because they're just different types of data structure. When you put like a few items in a list, for example, they actually can be a standout item. All right, so that's like the idea, the point I'm trying to make. For example, let's actually make a nested dictionary or nested list inside a dictionary. So let's say we're traveling and we want to keep a travel log. So I'm just going to make a travel log, okay, and we're going to make a dictionary, right? So we're going to have a dictionary, and I'm going to say, for example, for the first item here, I'm going to say friends. Let's just make it a nice friends. There you go. And this is the key value, and the pair of this are going to be the cities that I visited. So think about this. So these are just going to be the cities that I visited. I'm going to put this in a bracket. That means that it's going to be a list, right? So then I'm going to say, for example, Paris or something. All right. There you go. Yeah. So, and again, the cities that you visited, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's add another city. All right. So for example, we're going to say Lille. All right. And what else? We can add maybe another city. All right. Let's add Dijon. All right. So just like that, we have a list inside a dictionary. See how simple is that? And if you think about it, this is really not different from having the items in a dictionary. It's pretty much, it's just like you having more than one item in a dictionary for each value. Because if you think about it, in a normal dictionary, what you have here is like this, right? You have like, maybe let's just change this to number 2, and you have something like this. This is a normal dictionary, right? So in a normal dictionary, you have a value, a key, and a value, right? But in a dictionary that has a list inside of it, you have a key, and then inside the value you can store multiple series of information. And this is why Python is so powerful. You can because you can work with data in a very, very complicated manner, but it just makes it so easy to understand. And one of the things I recommend, when you actually just right off the bat, when you work with these things, when you have like a dictionary inside a list, you can actually do that as well. But when you have a list inside a dictionary, in this case, one of the things I recommend is try to structure it correctly. All right. So one of the best way to practice this is to just have the bracket out, and just bracket starts and then bracket ends, and then you have all the items in the middle, because that way you can have multiple items. So I can have like maybe Germany, like that, like there you go, Germany, and then you can have like different items in here. Obviously you got to add the commas here, right? That's very important, but like, you get the idea. So you can have multiple items like that, and it just looks better. It just feels better, right? The structure of it looks much, much nicer. But anyways, so let's actually, call this. So the real question is, one of the things I want you to remember is, okay, so it's really nice. You can put a list inside a, dictionary. So how would you actually call this? How would you actually print this? Let's say I want to print, Leo. So how would I actually do that? And the way you actually do that, let's say I want to print this. So first thing you want to do is you want to call the dictionary name, so travel log. And then the first thing, then you want to actually call a key value, right? So in this case, it's going to be friends, right? And then another bracket is going to call the index number of the list for that key value. Okay, so in this case, if this is an index number, so it starts from 0 and then 1, right? So if I put 1, what we're gonna get is Leo. So if I save this and run it, there you go. So we got Leo. So just like that, we were able to call an item inside a list, which is inside a dictionary. See, guys? And again, these, you can have as many as these brackets, the reference brackets, as possible. It really depends on the structure of the data that you have. And we're going to get into more complicated subjects right now, to more complicated like nesting structures, and you will see what I mean by that. So again, what I would recommend right now is, if you can pause the video, practice this a little bit. Try to have a dictionary and have like a list inside or something like that, and practice it for yourself, because I know we're going to get into a little bit more complicated subjects, so I want you to make sure that you understand this. All right, so with that being said, let's actually make this a little bit more interesting. All right, yeah, we're going to make it a lot more interesting. So what I want to do here is I want to nest dictionary in a dictionary. How do we actually do that? How do we nest a dictionary inside a dictionary? All right, so let's actually clean this and do this one more. I'm just going to keep this. All right, so the way we do this, the way we nest a dictionary inside a dictionary, is that the value, again, this is a key and this is the value. The value of it needs to be a dictionary. All right, so in this case, we open with a dictionary, so we got a key here, and then the value, we can turn this value into a dictionary. And the idea with this is that, let's say I want to have like multiple types of data in this friend's travel log. Let's say I want to say cities visited. How do I actually keep track of that? So the way you do this is you're going to open a bracket inside the dictionary again. I'm just going to say, for example, cities visited, and we're going to close that, and then we're going to again have a colon, and then again, remember, this is a dictionary by itself, right? So it has items inside, and we're going to have a list of items. For example, I'm going to say again, Paris. All right, so and then we can list our cities just like that. And yeah, so let's just add our, there you go, Dijon 2, there you go. So just like that, we added a we added a dictionary inside a dictionary, and this dictionary itself has a list. See, like, you can do a lot of interesting stuff with this. And that's not even the end of it. You can actually make it a lot more complicated. For example, what you can do, let's say I want to add, I want to say how many times I visited like France, like these cities, for example, Paris, how many times we visited. So we can add another value. I'm just going to say total visits equal, and then this is the key value. All right. And then we're going to say, for example, 12. So just like that, we added, 2 values inside this dictionary. And again, this dictionary itself has a dictionary. So we got a bunch of values here. And again, we can like make this as complicated as we want. For example, I can make this Germany. All right, so let's actually copy this and make this Germany. All right, and let's actually say cities visited. I'm just going to say Berlin. And we say, for example, Hamburg. And then we say, what else? Another German cities. If I'm saying it right, Stuttgart. There you go. All right. So let's say in this case, I visited like 5 times, something like that. So just like that, we have like complicated lists, right? We have dictionary in a dictionary. So we got a dictionary that opens, this is the main dictionary, travel log, and then
the items of the dictionary itself, like they have dictionaries. So this is a key, and this is a value, and this value is in a dictionary itself, and this value dictionary has a list inside it. See guys, you can make this extremely complicated. You just want to make sure that you get the structure of it right. And one of the things I recommend, I know this can get a little bit confusing, so one of the things I recommend is having it like this, structured in like a open space, so that way you understand exactly what you're doing. So one of the things you can do is like you can actually cut it like this, and like there you go. So I'm just gonna cut it like this. There you go. So that way I know, okay, this is an open bracket, this is the main bracket for the main dictionary, and then we got the key, and then the value is a bracket itself. It's a it's a dictionary, and then this dictionary, this is the value of this dictionary, and it has like the key of the dictionary, and then it has some values inside as a list. So just like that. So again, I want you to think about this because I know they can get a little bit confusing, so make sure you skip back and understand this if you are a little bit confused. So now, how do we actually call this? Now, as you see, we're getting into a little bit more complicated, subjects, right? More complicated ways to call stuff. So it really actually doesn't change anything. So if I say print, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say travel log. So we're going to call the dictionary first, and let's actually think about, so let's say I want to call the France value. So again, the first key value, or key pair, is like the key. First, the thing you want to do when you call inside a list, when you call inside a dictionary, is that you want to find the key value, right? So the key value is the most important thing. So if I want to look into Germany, and anything inside Germany's key value, I have to call Germany or France, right? So in this case, let's call Germany. So that's what I'm going to do. So let's put it in, here we go. So that's the first thing. Now we're inside this, inside Germany's dictionary, inside our main dictionary, right? So just like that. So now how do we actually call another value inside it? So now we got to find the other value. So in this case, I'm going to say, total visits. So if I actually call this total visits, so put it in another one, there you go. So just like that, if I actually run this, we get the value 5. So let's think about this. Let's say cities visited. All right, so let's put the cities visited. What do you think we're going to get? There you go. We get all of the cities, right? But if I want to call just a specific city, what do you think we do? We add another index, right? So we add, let's say I want to call Hamburg. Let's just like say 1. So just like that, we called the Germany's the dictionary inside this dictionary, and then we went inside the key, and then looked at the values inside this key and called the first value of this key. So if I run this, we're going to call the Hamburg, or value number 1. This would be the Hamburg, right? The first value would be Berlin, which is this number 0. That's the indexing that we talked about a long time ago, right? So just like that, we have a dictionary inside a dictionary. As you see, you can make this extremely complicated if you want. So one more thing I want to talk about, I know this is getting really, really out of control, but one more thing I want to talk about is another type of concept, and that is nesting a dictionary inside a list. So it's pretty much just the vice versa of how you work with a dictionary. And I just want you to know that this is also an option. It's just kind of the way you structure your data. If it doesn't matter, if it's not a certain type of data that you need to have a key pair value. For example, dictionaries are useful because you have a key and pair value. You can call it by a key value, right? So, but in a list, things are a little bit different, right? So you can actually work with a list too. So the way we do it, let's actually copy one of these things. Okay, so let's actually just do it from the beginning. So the way you do this is that you start with a bracket, right? So we start with a bracket. Let's just get rid of the entire thing. There you go. So we start with a bracket. And our bracket, let's just close this. There you go. So open it. Our bracket is going to have a dictionary inside. So we're going to say country, and then this country is going to have this is again the key value, right? And then we're going to have France, for example, and we're going to that's it. So that's our first thing. So we can have another value inside this dictionary. All right, so I'm just gonna say, for example, cities visited. All right, so just like that, we say cities visited, and then for this, we can put a list inside this. All right, so we're just gonna say Paris, and we can, let's just add like another one, Lille. All right, so just like that, you know, we have, you know, and let's add another value inside this, by the way. So I'm just gonna say total visits, and we're going to say 12, for example. Again, same as before. So here we go. So we have now a travel log that is a list, and this list has a dictionary inside it, and this dictionary has items, like it itself has an item, the key value, right? And then it has a list inside it as well. So again, if you think about it, this is like it's structured like this. So we got all this item data just like that. So we got, and again, you can just like separate it, make it a lot more cleaner so we understand it a little bit better, right? So if I save this, let's actually get rid of this. If I save this, and again, it runs, again, we don't have any commands to run, but we can call this the usual way that we do. So for example, we can say print, and we can say travel log, and we, again, because it's a list, we start with the index number, right? So that would be, for example, in this case, it's a 0, right? Because we only have one item inside this list, which would be the dictionary, right? And then when we do that, we actually get inside this dictionary, and we can call, for example, the country. For example, we can call country. All right, so let's just call country, and just like that, and we're gonna display France right now. There you go. So just like that, we can display France, right? And then again, I can call anything else I want inside the list, and this is how it works essentially. Okay, so let's say, you know, we're gonna call cities visited. Think about this. So if I call this right now cities visited, we're gonna have all of the cities named, but I can add another you know, index number here and just call the specific city I want, which is Lille in this case. I'm just gonna say number 1. So again, remember, this is index 0, this is index 1. So if I call this just like that, we're gonna have Lille. So you see, guys, this is how you actually call, you know, dictionaries inside a list and all that stuff. So I know this video can get a little bit overwhelming, so if you have any questions, I strongly recommend you to actually watch this video a few times, because we're going to do a lot of practices over this, and I think I'm pretty sure you're going to learn this a lot better when we actually do our practices. So let me know if you have any questions about this. I know this can get a little bit overwhelming, but you know, I strongly recommend you to practice this so you understand them a little bit better. So again, the files are you can access the practice file, or like this, you know, this file in the resource section. So let me know if you have any questions, guys. If not, I'll see you in the next lesson.